As we left going into commercial break, I said Josh Donaldson or Mike Trout, two of the names for the AL MVP. And you look at the numbers, it seems fitting. You have Donaldson batting .302, 34 RBI, or home runs that is. He's the first guy to hit 100 RBI this year, and OPS of .956. Mike Trout, .297, 33 home runs, 73 RBI. They're close in stature. It's going to be a close one. I'm leaning towards Donaldson, but that's just me. Where do you guys take it? Suki.
So I always look at MVP. What does that player mean to the team? Where would Toronto be without Donaldson? That's the question I would ask, and vice versa. And I'd give it to Donaldson. Now, I'm a homer on that, so I think he's the one for me. I think he means a lot more to Toronto than the other way around.
And exactly, take away what Toronto just got, because obviously, they're massive deals and getting great players, and it helps fill out their entire lineup. Before all that came, though, he was still a great player. He was still doing great things in the lineup where he was. Plus, his defense is great, too. He's a great third baseman. But everything's so tight, and that's the problem. Donaldson's on a hot right now. Trout's on a kind of a downswing.
He's cooling a little bit, but what about this? I say I'm still going with Donaldson, but I can make the easy argument for Mike Trout, too, as well. Because if you look at it, he's been with that team since day one. The Blue Jays really haven't taken off until they made a couple trades, getting David Price and Troy Tulowitzki. And I think that may have helped Donaldson a little bit more, whereas Trout was pretty much from the set of April has been this magnificent player up until recent, like you were mentioning, Andrew. Do you still feel that Donaldson is the guy?
Again, I'm going to go to my Homerville. that is the guy. It's a Canadian team, although Toronto's a hard pill to swallow. So I still have to go with Donaldson.
And they'll most likely go with whoever gets the playoffs, and that's the.
Yeah. Is that the criteria?
I think it will end up by coming who plays best down the last stretch of the last month of baseball, because it's with it being so close, you can go left, you can go right, it doesn't matter. But who's going to play the best? And both teams are stacked. Let's call it. They're pretty similar. They're really great teams. Whoever I think makes the playoffs and whoever does that final stretch, that's the shoe-in for MVP.
It'd be interesting to see if both those teams would meet, perhaps in the AL Championship Series. That'd be something else.
That'd where the test would be, wouldn't it?
All right. Well, how about this? You guys have played sports from various levels, regardless of what it is. You know there are participation ribbons. You get them for doing well. I got a few of them myself.
Just a few?
Just a few. A lot, actually, let's be honest. But outside of that, guys, all kidding aside, James Harrison, the linebacker, one of the premier linebackers for or defensive ends, that is, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has said, you know what? I'm not going to give my kids these participation trophies. Last week, a former teammate of his had a camp for kids, and they got some awards. They weren't anything that said first place or anything like that. They just said, you participated, congratulations. He said, we're not using them. What do you make of this decision of not giving his kids the trophies? And perhaps maybe in a grand scheme of things, does that kind of say, you know what? Maybe participation trophies or participation ribbons are a bad idea. Suki.
It all depends on where you want to go, in my mind. If you're in a fun league, you're playing, I think that's fine and dandy. But if you're truly a competitive person in a competitive league where you are judged on what you win, I think it's a good idea. Like I'm struggling with this because I have a 10 and 8-year-old at home, and I don't push them to win everything that they do, but I want them to do the best. Now, in my world, that having that reward at the end might be the right thing. But if you're in there for the dollars, that's the end goal. I don't think there's room for participation.
And Suki, you raised something that you have 2 kids. So myself, I don't have any, so I can't really relate to that. From your perspective, then. From your perspective as a parent, do you try to encourage them just along the way just to do well and do their personal best and then eventually get to that grade? Or do you say win at all cost at this age?
I truly think there's very few percentage of people that are born with that kind of talent right off the hop, and those are the ones you can give that kind of direction to. My children, if they're loving what they're doing, I push them as much as they want to be pushed, and push isn't probably the wrong word, but I encourage them to do their best. And if they really like something, then I put all my effort into helping them get there. So I think he's a champion. He's a winner. And when you're a winner in that kind of thing, that's what you know. And I think that's for him, it's a no-brainer. Like, you know, you listen to what he has to say. That's all he knows. That's what he knows to be, as a winner.
And it's not like he hasn't worked hard. This guy was undrafted. He was a guy who had to literally scratch and claw his way to the NFL and be where he is. What do you kind of make of this,
Like,
Andrew?
yeah, I don't have kids, so but to me the biggest thing is, as long as we're not deterring kids from playing sports, is if a participation ribbon is going to keep a kid in sports, give them the ribbon, give them the trophy, because that's what we want. We want them participating. We want them involved. If, like you said, like at what age do we maybe then cut it off? Then we say, okay, you know what? Life is about winning and losing. It really is. It sucks to say, but it comes down to winning and losing, especially in sports. But I don't know if what age do you do and what skill level and where do you start doing that? Are we going to hand participation ribbons out at the RBC Cup in May? I hope we do.
All right, very quickly,
should.
guys. Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll let the Bobcats know. Very quickly, I want to get your opinions. Usain Bolt, who's really struggled for the last, say, about a year now, has come back and taken his 100-meter crown, beating Justin Gatlin by 1/100th of a second, the bad boy of the whole situation. But if you look at what Usain Bolt has done in the past, through all the struggles he's had recently, is this a significant win for Mr. Bolt heading into the Olympics?
I think so. I think it's building now. Now he's back on the game, and now I'm sure all his competitors are thinking, wow, I thought we were done with this fella. You know, the guy that could turn it on at any given time and come back and win. I think now it's anybody's game, but it's his to lose now. So I'm pretty impressed.
Andrew?
And the people who are loving this the most are probably the hosts in Rio, because now you have the guy who's 100-meter dash is the, I guess, face of the Olympics. That's what everybody watches. That's the race that everyone cares about. And now your guy who's won it for the last 2 years is back on top again. But now there's competition. So now everyone's going to tune into that race in Rio to see if Bolt can make it 3 in a row and if someone will beat him and which guy. And so I think it creates a storyline and it's great. It's a year out from the Olympics.
All right, when we come back, we have Over Under next.